This is Gotham TV Podcast, episode 75, our Gotham Season 2 Roundtable with the Legends of Gotham.
Hey, this is Drew Powell. I play Butch Gilzine on Gotham, and you are listening to Gotham TV Podcast.
Welcome back, Gothamites. We are here to present the Legends of Gotham TV Podcast, effectively our Roundtable podcast, which features the Legends of Gotham and was held on their live stream over on YouTube. I'm one of your hosts for the podcast, Derek.
I'm one of your other hosts, John.
Yeah, just wanted to give a quick intro for our own podcast feed so that you know exactly what we're presenting today. We sat up about 1:30 in the morning to record a YouTube live stream with our friends over at Legends of Gotham, who've been covering the show Gotham for about as long as us, right the way back before season 1 started. They've been friends of ours. This is our third podcast with Anne-Marie and Bill from over on that podcast, and was really brilliant to be back with them again. Really, really enjoyable.
Yeah, absolutely. It was good fun. Lots to talk about from season 2. With the Roundtable roundup of season 2, everything from all the new characters that came in through to our best episode, our favorite scene, our favorite character, as well as maybe looking at one or two things that maybe didn't fit so well or feel so good for us during the course of the season 2, of which there were quite few, to be honest. But yeah, a great little discussion with our friends over at Legends of Gotham, and of course we are happy to present it here.
Absolutely, great to be back with them and great to have a chat about Gotham again. We'll be back in a couple of weeks' time with our review of The Suicide Squad, which is coming out in Ireland on the 25th of July. Thanks so much for joining us for this one. If you want to send us any feedback, just make sure you email us at feedback@gothamtvpodcast.com, and we'll be talking to you very soon.
Everybody has to start somewhere. Have a great life, Bruce Wayne. Welcome to Legends of Gotham TV Podcast, Episode 3, Gotham Season 2 Roundtable.
I'm one of your hosts, Derek.
I'm another one of your hosts, John.
And I'm Bill.
And I'm Anne-Marie.
And we are here to talk, as I said, Gotham Season 2. Very, very... Dun, 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 dun. With our besties, the podcast we're going steady with. We made out behind the bleachers in high school. Gotham TV Podcast. How are you doing, guys?
Doing great.
Yeah, really good, thanks.
I still haven't put a ring on it, though.
No.
Oops.
Yeah, if we wanted, I guess at some point we have to put a ring on it.
We're going to have to put a ring on it.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since our last encounter.
Yeah.
It's been too long.
Yeah,
too long.
Because when was the last time we did a stream? Was it Vicky?
Season 1? No.
It was after.
Yeah, season 1 roundup, I think.
Season 1 round 2, yeah.
Over a year.
Inappropriate.
And we never even called.
No, we didn't. We don't call. We don't write. We don't send chocolates.
Yeah, but that's absolutely great to be back with you guys. Really, really enjoyed the times we had together. We've had 2 full episodes before, and this is now our 3rd episode together with the Legends of Gotham.
So exciting.
And don't get it twisted. I mean, we haven't done a show together in a while, but we've been in constant contact. You know, you guys jump in on chat with us. For Batman v Superman, we sent voicemails back and forth. There were telegrams and pigeons involved. It was good. But we will also want to welcome all of our chatters over at live.universebox.com, where you can join in if you're watching live right now and, chat. And if we see anything interesting over there, we'll shout it out for sure. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I guess we do have trivia, but I just wanted, before we get started in the trivia for Gotham Season 2, I wanted to get general impressions from everybody on the panel about Gotham Season 2. And I guess we'll start with you guys, John and Derek. What were your general overall thoughts about Gotham Season 2?
For me, I thought this was a lot... It's one of those things, you compare it to the previous season. I absolutely loved season 1, but it did go a different direction. And here I just felt it really found its rhythm. It knew what it wanted to do. It knew it had 22 episodes to run with. And so I think they could just be so much more confident with everything that they did. So, you had Enigma's stuff continuing all the way through. So I really enjoyed this season. I thought it was really well done. It was kooky. I think as well, for us as a podcast, we actually, I think, or for me anyway, I felt more comfortable about what the kind of general ethos of the show was. And it's a bit more crazy than I thought it was going to be when I started out on season 1. So even for me, I kind of got more into the groove of what Gotham was, I think.
Yeah. I'd say the same. It's a very different show from season 1. Season 1 kind of had fits and starts of great episodes back to back. There was really only one episode in the entire season of season 2 that let me down a bit. But overall, the overall arcs that were in there for the characters, saw a lot of great stuff this season. Really exciting series this time.
Yeah, and like both of you were saying, I think they really hit their groove.
They found their
voice.
Stride.
Yeah.
And the fact that they knew they had 22 episodes, they could plan the story properly versus taking that 16 with the extension from season 1, because that did mess with them. But this season, they just took it and they ran. They just ran excellent.
Yeah, and as for me, one of the things that impressed me most about it was just it felt like comic book plotting. It felt more so than I've ever seen in a TV show before. It felt like the kind of plotting you get in a comic book where you have all these, supporting characters and they all each have their own arcs, and it kind of like waterfalls over each other as the season goes on and everything. And they really hit it out of the park with a lot of the dark humor in this episode too, which I think is, one of their strengths, is just these really dark, twisted jokes that would get you expelled in school or something if you told them, but they're just hilarious. Anne-Marie, what about you?
It's excellent. It's just, it always kept you interested. Like, we weren't going, I have to watch Gotham because we have a show to do. No, it was like, okay, let's go. Let me see another one. The credits roll and you want to watch the next one. That's a sign of a good show.
Definitely.
You want to binge watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. They kind of brought in the Netflix concept of the last couple of seconds of the show having a big twist that you wanted to get back into the next week. Definitely. I'm really looking forward to having the full season 2 on Blu-ray and watching it all back.
Absolutely.
Oh, definitely. You know what? We still never got around to watching because I know there were deleted scenes from the season 1. And I don't think we ever got around to watching any of those or anything. I'm sure there's probably some pretty cool deleted scenes for season 2.
Oh, can you imagine? Or even just like the outtakes of them in the crazy makeup and things. You see Fish with like the nails attacking someone.
Oh, those are some awesome nails too.
Yeah, I'm sure Penguin would be in Fish's outfit as well. I mean, it would just like...
Yes.
Oh, the Lemster PJU in the chat room asked, what did you guys think of Jim Gordon's arc throughout the season?
It's coming soon.
Oh,
I'm sure we'll talk about it when we talk about Jim Gordon.
Fair enough. But first we should do trivia.
Let's do trivia.
We should. Okay.
Let's do trivia.
Yay, trivia.
Yay.
Okay.
Ding,
with
ding,
our
ding.
round...
I don't have music for it, but...
Ding, 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 ding. There we go.
Before we start trivia,
yes.
Can I just say to the audience who don't know, we are based in Ireland.
Oh, yes.
It is 1:30 in the morning, so if we get any of these wrong, that is to do with the time difference, right?
Yeah.
We can blame the time difference.
We actually got the start time wrong. That's how
Yeah, because
hallucinogenic we are at this moment.
Yeah, you guys thought we were going to be starting an hour ago, and we were like, no doing. You guys have to stay up.
Pour another cup of coffee. Here we go. Okay, so this time for trivia, instead of questions, we're doing quotes. Okay. So I'm going to give you the quote. You, buzz in with who you think said it.
And I get to play too, right?
Yeah. You haven't looked at these, have you?
No, I haven't.
All right,
I haven't. How should we buzz in? Should we say our name?
Say your name. That's the only, that's really the only way to do this. Okay. Who designed the uniforms? Did you know?
No.
Lucius Fox. When he's getting his tour of Arkham.
Oh, okay. Because I was thinking
everything else that I saw and that would give it completely away. I was like, aha.
I was thinking like it was like a Strike Force thing or something.
Oh, see, that could have been good too. That could have been
Maniacs.
Hashtag Maniacs.
Hashtag Maniacs.
I was completely blank.
All right, that's a warm-up question.
Okay, warm-up question. Point to no one.
Shake it off.
Shake it off. Number 2. Bad guys come in, monsters come out. Oh, I'm doing quotes from now on.
John.
Yes, John.
Harvey Bullock.
Yep.
Can you buzz in again?
Sure, go ahead.
I thought you had an answer.
So did I.
John.
3. Okay.
Jim Gordon.
Yes. It would be Jim Gordon.
All right, John has 1 point.
Well done.
Woohoo!
I knew it was one member of the GCPD.
It had to be somebody, yeah. Well, I mean, that really could have been an Alfred.
It could have.
It could have. It had an Alfred. Okay, question or quote 3. The me I am right now is hitting my stride.
Bill.
Yes, Bill.
Ed.
Yep.
Dun, 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 dun.
Ding, ding, ding,
yes.
ding, Mr.
Well done.
Enigma.
I knew it.
All right, number 4. I'm not about money, little boy. I'm about respect.
Derek.
Yes, Derek.
Silver Sinclair.
Nope.
Derek.
Yes,
Galavan.
Who?
Galavan.
Nope.
All right.
Can I hear the quote one more time?
I'm not about money, little boy. I'm about respect. Boop, boop, boop.
Oh.
The answer is cupcake.
Oh, Cupcake.
Cupcake.
Yes.
I
We're
love
only
it.
talking about him tonight.
Wahoo-ha.
The biggest character of season 2, Cupcake.
Cupcake.
Yeah.
Love cupcake. Question 5. The best liars always tell the truth.
John.
Yes, John.
Theo Gallivan.
Nope.
Derek.
Yes, Derek.
Silver Sinclair.
Nope.
Bill.
Derek. Bruce Wayne.
John. Selena Kyle.
Bill. Jim Gordon.
Whoever said
John.
Selena
Selena
Kyle.
Kyle.
Selena Kyle it is.
I know the scene.
Everybody just started screaming names.
Sorry,
Nice.
I'm free.
You're good. No. Okay.
Okay, right now it looks like John's leading with 2. Bill has 1. That's me.
That's
and
you.
Derek has 0.
Wah, wah. All right, last but certainly not least. I thought you were prepared to make the hard choices, to do whatever it takes to rid Gotham of its monsters.
John.
Yes.
Theo Gallivan.
Yes.
Finally, that worked out for you. And I think that's a solid win for John.
That would be a solid
Congratulations.
win for John.
We'll give you a clap.
Yay!
Excellent.
All right. So that's all we have for tonight. Trivia-wise.
That's all the trivia we have.
That's all the trivia we have. Yes.
Well, trivia is trivial anyway.
It is. It's just a little warm-up.
Okay, so I guess
Don't take away my victory.
No, it was wonderful. It was important, and it was fantastic.
Quotes are so hard. It really
Quotes
is.
are-
yeah, it is.
They really. I tried to get ones that sounded like at least two or three people could have said them.
Especially quotes spanning
Cupcake.
22 episodes. Like if we
Yeah.
did like a quote quiz like after one episode, yeah, I'd probably get more
Yeah.
than one.
Well,
It-
and I couldn't pick any of Bullock's because his Bullockisms are so giveaway. I was like, that's not a question. That's like name the episode or something.
Like a monkey riding a racehorse.
Something
you know?
like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Definitely.
Love it.
Okay, so I guess speaking of characters like Bullock, like Gordon, like Gallivan, like John Derek, who are both
John Derek.
John Derek,
Okay.
who are both fictional characters. We should get. Let's start off talking about some of the characters
Okay.
in Gotham season 2. Okay, so the biggest probably story arc in the entire season was Theo Gallivan, Azrael, the Order of Saint Dumas. That whole big.
That
thing.
arc really arced the entire 22 episodes.
Definitely. But let's start talking about that. Why don't we start with you, Derek, since you lost so horribly in the trivia game. What did you think about Gallivan and the Order and Azrael and that whole deal?
I absolutely loved Theo Gallivan's arc. I love the actor. I really, really enjoy him in the show, and I really enjoyed the fact that we had him going from a new arrival in the city that nobody knew, a contemporary of the Wayne family, and then building him up to becoming mayor. And then obviously we see his demise, and we think that's it. Having the return and bringing him into the Order of Dumas, obviously a very important part of it. But having him come back to life and be Azrael, a big character from the comic books who I absolutely loved, was a bit of a shock and really, really enjoyable twist for the character. Dead's never dead now on Gotham, so a huge moment really for the series.
Well, definitely,
Absolutely.
I just loved his turn as Azrael. Like I think I have this a little bit later on in the notes for the show, but his time in the suit, like stalking everybody, like
I loved
handing
how
out
crazy
the
he sort of got.
rafters and everything. Some of my favorite stuff they've ever done on the show, and I never quite believed that they could potentially ever do like a live action Batman show on network television. But those 2 episodes made me think, oh, they could totally, just artificially age David like they're going to do Poison Ivy next season.
No, because then we lose David.
And then they could do the Batman show potentially at some point.
They could get there. I mean, we're only at the end of season 2.
But Anne-Marie, what were your thoughts on Theo?
He's the one you'll love to hate. He just always brought so much pizzazz. Is that even like what I'm thinking? I don't know. He just had so much energy and motivations. His motivations had motivations, and there was always another twist or turn. If we ignore the letdown of the Order of Saint Dumas and the Hooded gang,
because it was a little underwhelming when it was like 8 guys in hoods.
It was like some guys in hoodies is really what just happened there, and except for the like karate kicks, but it was just, there was so much, and it just kept building, and then it crashed, and then it built, and then it crashed. I don't know. I just enjoyed that it just kept going.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Like I must say, like I really liked what he also kind of brought with him, like his entourage. Whether like I love the idea of the history of Dumas and the rivalry with the Waynes, and just that whole aspect. That competitive revenge streak, that was cool. And then just like Tabitha and obviously Silver St. Cloud just added other layers to Theo Galavan, because he them, and he kind of sent them out to sort of undermine Bruce, and really sort of, Tabitha was sent out as his kind of assassin. So really just to throw chaos and to really like move his plans forward. So I loved the entourage around Theo Galavan as well as Theo Galavan. Like I think James Frayne really, I loved his laconic kind of drawl that he spoke. He was just so sort of lazy in how he delivered it, and I mean in a good way. Like I just loved how he really took his time. I thought it was really good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I thought it was really cool how they they kind of set up that whole backstory, and you don't necessarily think it's going in this direction, but then when Hugo Strange turns him into Azrael, and he has that programming already built in, knowing the whole story,
memorize the whole book
and everything, it just made total sense, and I thought it was so clever and so well played off.
Yeah, well, it's also nice when they build something up so early in the season and then you see it pay off so close to the end. It's like, okay, that wasn't for nothing. It wasn't, we weren't just getting all this backstory of the history of Saint Dumas to be forgotten, or it was a storyline that never came to fruition. It came back around, and it was so important.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah, Bobby in the chat room says, I always thought Fish was too over the top, but for some reason I had no problem with Theo being the same way. Bobby, we know you don't like Fish.
We know you don't like Fish.
Bobby's a constant in our chat room. But what was I going to say? Oh, I thought it was interesting though, and I kind of touch on this a little bit later in my notes and stuff too, but Theo felt very, when he was doing the whole run for mayor and everything, he felt very artificial and very like veneered and almost fakey in a way.
Well, if he was being a politician, that's how he belongs.
Yeah, exactly. But it was just interesting because, you kind of thought you knew him from that angle of it, and then as the season went on, and especially the first half of the season, and things got darker and darker. By the time he's beating the crap out of Jim Gordon, it's just completely mind blowing where they took the character, because I never thought he was going to be a physical character. If nothing else, like a master chess player.
Right,
kind
he
of
had
guy.
all the minions to do everything.
Exactly.
But that time he took matters into his own hands.
I love the way that there was a hint of that, though, where, you didn't know it necessarily at the time, but with hindsight, that how he took out Jerome on the stage to further his ambition at the time, or that little step in his master plan. Just how he takes him out on stage, I thought was really good. And, he's so brutal towards Jerome. You've lost your usefulness kind of thing. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, and it was very shocking at the time, too, because it kind of felt like they were building up. This is the Jerome season, guys, hashtag maniacs, let's
all
go.
The way, yeah.
And then just, no.
Nope. Hashtag maniacs
Never
are over.
mind. He's on a slab now.
Yeah.
That's magic.
Okay, so next up, why don't we talk about Alfred and Bruce's relationship in this season? Anne-Marie, hey, let's start with you because I know that Alfred and Bruce are personal favorite of yours.
Heart.
But what do you think about where they took their characters this season?
The amount of growth in their relationship is insane. Like at the beginning of the season, it's really a lot more of like guardian and child. And then by the end of the season, they've really settled into being friends and partners and respecting their each input a little bit more. And knowing when to back off a little, when to push a little more, how to push it. And I think that it's so nice to see their relationship grow because it doesn't, it's still so young in the Bruce Batman-ness. They don't have to be there already, but they're getting there.
Yeah.
You're looking at me like I have six heads.
Definitely. I really like to how, like you said, they're equal partners now and everything. But at the same time, Alfred is still he's still willing to step into that sort of like instructorly role, that teacher role.
Somebody has to.
Even down to that cupcake scene we were talking about earlier, where he's getting the crap beat out of him, and he's like, he's
still teaching
Master Bruce, here's an important lesson about it, how to fight and all this stuff. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. But what did you guys think, John and Derek, about Bruce and Alfred this season?
I'm with Anne-Marie. This is one of the best parts about Gotham, I think, and it's also just down to the two actors. Like, I think David Mazouz is like amazing. He's like, he was born to do this role. I know he's like a big fan of Batman as well, but I can't actually imagine who else they would have. I think he's really inhabited that role really well. And
I will say they've been releasing like behind the scenes videos on the Gotham YouTube lately of him, and he's a really good actor. He's not. Bruce Wayne has nothing to do with the real kid. He's like a goofy kid when he's in these behind the scenes videos, but then he has this intensity as Bruce Wayne. It's just amazing.
But that's it. Yeah, I mean, for someone so young, he has that intensity, and it just rhymes well with Batman and what he becomes. And then he had like the relationship with Alfred. I think just the way, as Anne-Marie said, like how that's developed, I think this year, it's almost that they've, I think on one of our podcasts, we said, well, this is the split of Alfred and Bruce for at least a moment in time within season 2. Where they go onto the streets, and there is that tension there. There's that adolescent tension. Bruce wants to do stuff. Okay, maybe not drinking under the railway arches like most teenagers. It's tracking down his parents' killers. But he's rebelling into some extent, or in his own particular way. He wants to do stuff his way.
Right.
But he also then it also then builds his own knowledge of what he can do, but also what he needs Alfred to help him with as well. And I love how they reconnect as well. And I love the kind of deal that they have as well, right? I think really early on, after Alfred's kind of destroyed the computer in the proto Batcave. Just that whole thing I thought was really cool, where they come to an understanding.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the kind of, as you say, the rule that Alfred was setting up to begin with, where he's telling Bruce, you have to follow every rule that I set for you. And by the end of the season, they turned that around completely, that Bruce is going to lead and Alfred's going to follow. Really loved it. I also love that the two of them got some great moments apart this season. The whole episode where Bruce finally pulls one over on Silver. Absolutely brilliant as well.
That was fantastic.
And a great moment for David. Definitely, I was kind of going, they can't kill off Bruce Wayne, can they? That'd be really weird. But yeah, great moment. Definitely.
That would make this definitely an alternate universe,
right?
That, although some people have theorized about that, like what if Gotham eventually will say, okay, this is going to be Gotham without Batman, like that's the alternate universe story we're going to end up telling, and it would be interesting. But I kind of want to see him become like a young Batman too.
I think they're going to get there.
Yeah,
I think. Definitely. I mean, he's going to age into it. Just the way it's going, he's going to age into it.
Get him.
He should. Interestingly, while we were over at one of the interviews we were at with the cast, I've just suddenly blanked on the name of the actor who plays Enigma. That's terrible, isn't it?
Corey Michael Smith.
Yeah, Corey Michael Smith was dead set against the idea of the show going past the point where Bruce becomes Batman. He was dead set against it. He kind of said that would be the end of Gotham. The show is about everything beforehand. And I'm kind of out of it if they decide to go that way, which I thought was an interesting comment from
the cast.
Corey
Yeah.
Michael Smith.
From Corey Michael Smith. Yeah.
That was whilst we were over in London.
Yeah.
I've always thought it would be fun if they did some sort of episode where you if nothing else, they did like a flash forward and you got to see a little bit of that Gotham or something. But I know that John Stevens has said, that while they're willing to explore the supernatural stuff via like Indian Hill and things like that, they're not going to delve into any sort of like magical or like overly sci-fi, like time travel kind of concept. So I don't know if there's a way to do that really.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Over in the chat room, interesting question from Stephanie990. She says, what are your thoughts on Penguin now being more bloodthirsty than before? How much more evil could he be?
He's the Penguin.
Like,
it's just going to keep going.
I almost want to say that he was more bloodthirsty in the first season, but because that kind of evil in him was so repressed for a lot of this, or at least the second half of the season, that when it came out, he killed people and fed
Left
people
them
to
on
other
the
people,
table.
and it just kind of blew up.
There's a reason I'm drinking from my Stark mug tonight, and I've just not drinking from my Stark mug. Somebody took
the souffle blew up, so to speak.
Yes.
Definitely. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so I think we've talked out Alfred and Bruce. Mm-hmm. I just mentioned it really, but Indian Hill.
Good old Indian Hill.
That whole thing, that whole payoff to the Viper episode back in season 1. Mm-hmm. What did you guys think of the whole Indian Hill scene, arc, all that? And I think we can probably bundle in Hugo Strange into this too, just because.
Absolutely,
he's tied.
I mean, I don't want to say too much because I've got it for later, but I mean. I loved, I think Indian Hill is a great sort of concept for the show to be able to do what it maybe needed to do, which is to bring people and give them a reason for inhabiting maybe a slightly weird or kooky thing like the storytelling with regards to like Azrael, and certainly with the Alice in Wonderland. I mean, Mad Hatter is one of my favorite Batman villains, along with the Riddler. And so, hearing Hugo Strange say, he's recounting passages from that book and that story is just really, really good. And I just think BD Wong, what he brought, they had some really great talent. I loved Hugo Strange. He challenged people that I wanted him to challenge. He ran, obviously, Arkham. He ran Indian Hill. He had a great sidekick in Miss Peabody.
Oh, Miss Peabody!
So,
love it.
And I love some of the stuff that they did, where the whole psychedelic, and you had that image. But as I say, I don't want to say too much. But
yes,
it's really, really good. That they did some really great camera work for some of the scenes that he was in, which really, I think, just added a whole different kind of take on some of these episodes. Mm-hmm. So I really loved the introduction of both of these.
Yeah, I really like that they found a really clever way to explain why Batman has so many really, really weird villains, and so many because in practicality, a lot of his villains are based on literary characters, archetypes, things like this. Mm-hmm. Because 1930s, 1940s, 1950s comic book writers. They were having to write a lot quickly, and they weren't always that original. So they took, something pre-existing like the Mad Hatter and kind of morphed it into a villain for Batman to fight. But they found a really cool and clever way that, Hugo Strange was giving all these, monsters these backstories.
Right.
And, he was pulling them from books and this, that, and the other to kind of give it an in-story reason, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I love the idea, and I love the fact that it does a kind of call back to, as you say, episode 5 of season 1. You know, that's not what I thought Indian Hill was going to be. I thought it was going to be connected to Wayne Enterprises. I thought there was going to be some underground facility where all the accountancy stuff was stored, kind of thing. It wasn't going to be something as big as this is where all the villains are being created and being sent out to the streets of Gotham, you know?
Yeah, but even Ed Nigma got scared.
Yeah, exactly.
And if Nigma gets scared, then you know it's really bad because he's just psychotic. Yeah. No, I mean, it is still connected to Wayne Enterprises, though. That's the thing. And that's kind of curious is once you pull in the whole Court of Owls that we're going to be getting and have started to see glimmers of that I don't understand and you have to explain to me every week. But it's like how that all connects and like who's actually in charge. Is it somebody like, is it the board of Wayne Enterprises that we haven't seen in a year? Is it the Court of Owls? Are they one and the same? We don't know because she's wearing a mask. Like it could still be the crazy lady who hired Alfred's old buddy to go after Alfred to mess with Bruce. It's all crazy.
Super duper
it's all
crazy.
super duper crazy and it's all connected, I think.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Over in the chat room, we have a couple of interesting things. Someone asked, do you think Gotham should cross over with any other DC show? I would say no. I just because a big part of the reason I don't watch the DCW verse is because you have to watch like 20,000 shows to keep up with any one storyline. And plus I hear Arrow wasn't that great towards the end anyway.
I've heard that.
But Amory, I'd assume you're probably on the same page with me.
I think they just operate in such different universes. I think Gotham is dark and gritty, where the DCW is bright and shiny. Like I feel like everything over there sparkles, or they're like gold lame or something. Like that's what I feel is coming from over there. Where over here it's like Bruce is living like a homeless dude. Like he's got bazillions of dollars, but he's living in a cardboard box.
People are getting blown up with bazookas.
Now, I will say I do actually watch all of the CW shows except for Legends of Tomorrow. That's the only one I don't watch. But I kind of agree with you that they couldn't cross over. But there's a great moment in one of the comic books where Bruce is standing with one of his friends and sees Superman fly by overhead. I think it's in Hush, actually.
I think so. Yeah.
And I'd love that kind of moment where they're standing in the streets of Gotham and the Flash flies past, and maybe they keep that storyline on the Flash. But I definitely don't want the characters to meet up. It's really definitely a different kind of time zone or a timeline to the shows that are on CW. I think it's probably set about 10 or 15 years beforehand, so that they may be able to use the character of Batman on their shows if they want to, I suppose. But I'd love to see something like that. I'd love to see something where it has an impact or there's a moment where they're seeing something happen from the other shows. But that's about all I'd like to see.
I could deal with that. Sorry.
The Flash would be too shiny. Like all the Gothamites would like jump on him if they could. And, like, it's like get him, kill him, or something, dirty him,
throw the mud,
hold him under the puddle or something. I don't know. It'd be kind of like
break his legs.
Yeah, exactly. It would be kind of like Gotham forever, or something.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm the Black Arrow or the Black and Blue Arrow.
No, I definitely agree. Like, I think while I wouldn't want to see them cross over with the DCW verse, I would totally be down with seeing another
character.
DC, like another non-Batman DC character show up on the show sometime. Like maybe have like young Oliver Queen come in for an episode, or maybe not Oliver Queen because he's kind of got some.
You're gonna go there, aren't you?
Some issues with Felicity.
Stop it!
Right now.
Don't do it! Don't do it!
But no, but someone like that, or like maybe like a young Ted Kord meets Bruce Wayne at some sort of a Young Geniuses club, or say, a good version of that. Like I'd love to see that for sure. A Clark Kent appearance would be nice.
I'm sure you would be really excited about that.
But okay, so let's see here. Any other thoughts on Indian Hill, or are we good to move on?
I just have one thing with Indian Hill. What's going to happen now?
I know.
Because, I mean, the freaks are out. That's all. Like, that's really, they're all out. Or are they?
On one bus. That's a terrible idea.
Exactly.
You thought school buses were bad back in the day, like with all the kids in the back of the bus. Just wait until you have some monsters back there.
Exactly. So I just think that's going to be interesting.
Still stuck in Arkham, right? So,
but how do you have the people stuck upstairs in Arkham when you have all these monsters escaping downstairs? Like, that's my confusion a little bit, is that they weren't separate. They're one entity. They tried to make it look like it's separate, but when the GCPD is invading the downstairs and we have BD Wong or Strange, whatever, upstairs, like crying in like a fog. It's all together. It all has to work together.
Well, I'm sure we will. I'm sure they won't let that kind of like percolate. I'm sure like first episode, season 3, we're going to get a big insight to the current state of Arkham and everything.
Oh yeah, there will be cleanup.
I'm hoping poor Ed isn't locked there over the summer. 5 months trapped in a room on his own would definitely drive him more crazy, wouldn't it?
A little bit.
If you could get more crazy than Ed is right
that's
now.
true. Yeah.
I think you could, because he thought he was out. He thought he was like a guy on the inside, and they're like, "Thanks for your work. Back to your cell, dear." I think that would drive me crazier.
Okay, let's see here. Okay, why don't we're 40 minutes into our episode.
Woo!
Why don't we talk about the main character of the show?
Oh,
Jim Gordon.
That guy.
Jim kind of went through a long, dark tea time of the soul in season 2, I think. But what did you guys think of Jim's arc, his fall from grace, all that kind of stuff?
Can I hand this one on to John, because John had a lot to say about Jim during our podcasts of this season.
Definitely.
I wanted to slap him, but like it redeemed itself. But I know for the first kind of maybe half of the season, I was just like, what is happening?
Right.
I didn't understand the characterization. And I don't think, it's not, I think whether it was the writing or whatever, I don't think it was necessarily performance related or anything like that. I just was like, it just seemed a bit scatty and sporadic. I know someone can have a moral core, but maybe do things against that. But he was so moralistic towards everyone, and then goes and kills someone and then shoots people and is doing stuff that he's riling against. I just felt the character got a bit away from itself, to be honest. But I liked how it came back to that then, dark Jim Gordon. And is he a Jedi or is he a Sith, or what is he? And I like that they brought that back later on in season 2, but they didn't have that they didn't make that clear at the start, and so it was kind of a bit weird for a few episodes where he was doing all these things that just seemed to be going against everything he was saying in both senses, whether it was good or bad. And I mean, I was starting to feel sorry for Leslie Tompkins. I was thinking, just get out of the apartment, leave him.
Yes.
but it did kind of I loved then how she came and challenged him, and I loved then how Captain Barnes challenged him, and so it worked out in the end, and I liked that aspect. But I think I just wish that there'd been a bit clearer about what he was going through, because it didn't seem to until you had the other characters around him saying, "Jim, what are you doing?" Where are you in this? Are you, what's your relationship with Penguin? All these different kind of really probing questions on a personal level with Leslie, and then obviously in the GCPD with Captain Barnes, and even I think with Harvey Bullock. So yeah, he split me a bit this season, but I think in the end, I liked where he ended up and how it went. But for the first bit, it was I kind of didn't get it. But yeah. But anyway, yeah. You see, I had a lot to say.
Yeah, I think it was a journey we kind of had to see, though, because he came in at the beginning of season 1, just this almost like a moral absolutist kind of character, which, Commissioner Gordon, as we know in the comics, is a good guy. He's not exactly a moral absolutist. He's willing to, bend
break
some rules and turn into some dark alleyways to get the job done. And it was kind of, I think this season was a lot seeing the transition between that moral absolutist to somebody who would be willing to let a guy like Batman operate in his city and work with him to help clean the city up. It was a very interesting thing, though, too, because I think in a lot of ways Gotham beat him down. I mean, think about him when he came in at the beginning of season 1. He was
bright and shiny.
right out of the military, right? Had a beautiful fiance. They were happy. She was running an art gallery. He was coming in to kind of take over in his dad's old city and everything like that. Right. Things were looking up for old Jim Gordon.
Right.
And then by the end of it, he was alone. People were dead, you know. Yeah. So I think I can see why he made those choices. And I think I see it from like a story sense too, why he had to kind of go through this journey. I'm really interested to see where they'll pick up with him at the beginning of season 3, though.
Especially because he stole Bullock's car, and that was last we saw. Yeah.
I definitely agree. He had to go on that journey. I'm absolutely agree on that. I think it was the fact that he still, in terms of what he did to like Commissioner Loeb, even though I know there were mortal enemies, and I understood that like Gotham is molding him in a sense, and the forces that play out in Gotham. But it was just sometimes when he went overly moralistic towards like Captain Barnes, saying, "Well, you must do it this way," or you know, and then
sending Oswald in after Loeb,
and then sending Oswald in after Loeb. That was a bit kind of extreme, and like it was too extreme maybe, but I mean I understood they had to go down that road. Absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely felt like, and I don't think we have him on the list, so I'll talk about him a little bit too. Barnes.
No, he was originally, and then
but I think Barnes was there in a lot of ways to say, you know, if season 1 Jim Gordon had stayed going season the way he was going, he would have failed like Barnes did. Because, I mean, Barnes had a lot of lofty ideals, and he came in there ready to, you know, clean up and do everything by the book and this and that. And the strike force got cleared out, and they had to hire new guys like every week. Yep. And, you know, the city descended into chaos, and he ended up getting stabbed.
Wasn't he in the hospital like twice?
Yeah.
There's issues.
Yeah, in a city like Gotham, that kind of approach doesn't quite work.
No, you have to be able to look the other way a little.
That's one thing I was really surprised about throughout the season. We were getting a lot of emails and comments on Twitter about whether Barnes was a bad guy, whether he was working for Caliban the whole way through the season. Nobody trusted him, which I thought was really interesting. I was kind of looking at him the same way as you were, Bill. I was kind of looking at him going, this is just a representation of what Jim could be if he was captain and was still sticking to his moral code. But yeah, we were getting loads of people kind of going, nah, bad guy. It's Caliban trying to run the GCPD from the inside.
I think we had that theory going too.
At least the first couple episodes with Barnes, we were like, okay, this...
We thought he was on Galavan's crew. Right. And that's why he had to operate so morally, because then they couldn't do anything, because from the outside, Galavan wasn't doing anything bad. And it was helping to cover him, but obviously not.
I think part of my reasoning for that, too, was because I know him, Michael Chiklis, very well from The Shield, where and Barnes is kind of like the bizarro Vic Mackey in a way. So I was expecting him to go bad, to go off the rails like Vic Mackey does in episode 1 of The Shield. So, spoilers. Episode 1, he's a bad cop. Okay, let's see. Anybody else have anything? Did you get to talk?
I didn't get to talk about Jim Gordon.
You were talking, just not directly. Yeah.
It wasn't my turn. No, my thing with Jim this season was, I know he's supposed to be the main character, and I felt that a lot more in season 1. In season 2, he didn't feel like the main character. He felt more like a supporting character for Bruce's story. Right. Like we had to get more of his, but I don't think we focused on him. Even with all of his baby mama drama, ex-fiance falling out a window, going crazy, punching up the world, I still don't think it didn't feel like his story this season, even though he was a main focus in a lot of like the episodes. For some reason, I didn't feel it was his story.
Well, definitely. Like, I think where season 1, it kind of focused on him as the protagonist. Yeah. This season, I think the setting was more the protagonist. Gotham City itself was the protagonist of season 2.
And you know what? I think I like that better.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't hate Jim like in season 1, but in season 2, it was just so much more intense when I didn't feel we were focusing on him. Yeah. I felt I was getting a better story because there was more to it. There was more going on, and he's got these internal conflicts, so he's just got to work out before he can like come back into my life.
Well, I think Strange drugged them out of him, so.
I believe he may have. He has forgiven him.
I loved him when he was inhabited by Clayface.
Oh yes,
Smiley Jim was great.
That was hysterical. Like again, like the actors on this show can do an amazing job. Like, that's such a change.
Definitely.
And it's impressive.
It must have been sorry. It must have been great for oh my god,
Ben McKenzie.
Ben McKenzie as well, just to like do something different with that character. As well.
It kind of made me hopeful that maybe we'll get some other Clayface versions of familiar characters in season 3. That'd be nice.
Probably.
What about he could do a fake Penguin, fake Ed. Not fake Bruce Wayne, probably. Plus, we
already have a fake.
We're gonna have a Bruce Wayne double next season anyway. So, okay, so and I guess this will all lump in together here in a nice big fat bundle. But #Maniacs, it's time to look at this Joker.
Let's look at this Joker.
Everybody, look at this Joker. Joker. Everybody, look at the Joker.
Okay.
Look at this Joker.
Yes.
Yay! That was the best rendition ever, for sure. Okay, but no, we're not going to be discussing, hints to the Joker or anything in episodes like we normally do with the segment. And this time, we're just going to be talking about Jerome. Because Jerome was awesome.
He's fantastic.
And you know what? We'll go ahead and throw it to you guys first because it was the first part of season 2, and we're so far removed from it. I can't remember what you guys thought about it, so you need to refresh us. Give us your entire coverage of Jerome in 4 minutes.
All right. Absolutely love Jerome. The actor Cameron Monaghan, coming from just a one guest role in the first season, coming into this role in this season, has just really kind of stood out as something so different in the city of Gotham. Really, really enjoyed his take on the character. You can see why everybody loved him, why everybody was really shocked by losing him as a character. But it just the madness that he brought to the role and the madness that was going on around him, that he was trying to kind of harness and try to push forward in Gotham was just essential to the show in those early episodes. I think, like a lot of people, when we saw that moment with Galavan taking him out, I kind of thought, "Oh God, they've done that. They've done the wrong thing there. They've kind of ruined the show. This can't go. It can't get any better than this." They did prove that they had loads more up their sleeve for the rest of the season. Luckily, and I do believe we definitely heard the laugh, and we definitely saw a hooded person getting out of that bus at the end of the season. So I think we're going to see Jerome again.
And there was the ginger haired person in the tank.
Yeah. That we constantly saw in every episode once we started seeing the tanks. They're like, no, he's coming back. Stop sending us hate mail. Like that's what I felt like those were. It was like, yes, it's a glimpse. And yes, it's stop sending the hate mail.
You know what bugged me about those tanks when they showed the back of him and it was very obviously Fish and very obviously Jerome. Mm-hmm. People in online discussions about the show kept saying, like when people were like, oh, Fish is coming back in a couple episodes or whatever, they were like, spoilers. And I'm like, it was on the show. They showed her.
They actually showed the character. Yeah.
It wasn't in a promo. It wasn't a press release, although there were both of those things. It was literally on the show. They hinted that, not hinted, basically outright stated that they were coming back. But I really loved his take on it too. I really appreciated how he kind of played it like he was equal parts Jack Nicholson, Mark Hamill, a little Cesar Romero even, and then his own little spin on it too, which I thought was really cool.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
I'm curious what happens after his rebirth. Mm-hmm. Like what twist gets thrown in there? Like what story could Strange have given him to take? Or maybe did he give him his own story, just slightly doctored?
I love the idea that he may have left them as a blank slate as well, and he
might not have gotten to it.
Yeah, he's still the crazy Jerome underneath it. I was trying to work out his backstory, that would work quite well with the Joker character as well.
Yeah, I wonder if he'll when he comes back, because it's pretty much assumed that he's going to be a big part of season 3.
I'm staring at his IMDb though, trying to figure out where he's doing that.
But I wonder what if he'll look like more like the traditional Joker, if he'll have the white face and all that stuff.
Hopefully not. I reckon that's my kind of personal sort of take on it. I hope not just yet.
I don't think
you never know what a fish tank will do.
Well, nobody else has looked different. That's the thing. True. Fish looked basically the same.
Better.
or better. She might have had some surgery in there.
There's definitely a hairdresser.
There was definitely a hairdresser in there. Galavan Azrael, he looked the same, a little beat up, but his face had been mutilated in his death. So I think if anything, maybe he'll be like a shade paler because he was stabbed in the neck, maybe like something because like so much of the blood drained from his head so quickly, maybe.
Like even if it was just how he looked on the slab there at the end of the last slab.
That's true.
That would be okay. I'd be okay with that, definitely.
But I don't think they can take it much further without it just being a little too forced. Yeah.
Let's see.
But the man's on 2 shows, so I have no idea how he's doing.
I might have a theory for that.
Ooh.
Later on.
Later on.
Yeah,
later
in
on.
our theory section.
That's the tease. I was like, theory. No. But I just real quick, the Lemster, PJU in the chat room says, I think Fish may become Magpie. Fish Mooney, Magpie is a comic villain of Batman.
I assumed as such.
I know her very well because she was in the post-crisis first appearance or first team up of Batman and Superman. She was the villain they thought.
Gotcha.
That's what I always think of. But Fish is very Magpie-esque. Yeah, definitely. So I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but I wouldn't be surprised if Fish wasn't at least a little inspired.
I don't know how to wait. I like the wiki. Magpie was an enemy of Batman with an obsession for shiny objects. Yep, I think that's perfect. There we go. And wanted them all for herself. Actually, yes, this is perfect. This is fantastic.
That's very likely.
The internet.
Okay, so why don't we go ahead and talk about the monsters, we'll say.
Okay.
The Mr. Freezes, the Fireflies, etc. What was some of you guys' you Gotham TV podcast guys? What were some of your favorite monster moments of season 2?
I absolutely loved the Mr. Freeze storyline. I absolutely loved it. And Firefly, to be honest, the two of them getting their battle at the end of the season was awesome. But having the Mr. Freeze storyline that I loved so much from the cartoons, actually more so than the comic books, translated really well into the show, and with its own little twist, quite different from our final version of Victor Freeze and the Victor Freeze, still can't get that right. Freeze, right? Having that little twist on for the show really changed it for me and really allowed me to enjoy it like I hadn't seen the story before as well. So I think they did a great job with Victor Freeze for me.
Yeah, I'm the same. One of my favorite characters from the Batman canon really is Mr. Freeze, and I loved the whole story, the little twist, and the play out, the battle between Firefly and Freeze at the end, reflected into Stranger's glasses was just really cool. And again, Firefly was really good as well. I liked how that played out with Bridget Pike becoming Firefly, really taking on this role because of her, pretty dreadful relationship with her brothers. And I loved how that connected in with Selena Kyle's story, like seeing another side of Selena Kyle, not just simply being in scenes with Bruce, but having someone else, as well as Ivy Pepper, to be involved with and develop that character of Selena. I really liked. But yeah, it was kind of very Games of Thrones-y, Fire and Ice at the end in Arkham. Really, really liked it. They were really good. And I liked Clayface as well. I liked how they did that, really. It seemed to work. I was kind of thinking, how are they going to do this? And it worked, I think, for me.
Yeah, like as far as Firefly, it was interesting because I was thinking about it when they were airing the episodes, the origin and everything. And I don't know if I've ever read an origin for the comic book version of Firefly. So I was kind of like completely open to whatever they did. I could see maybe if you didn't like the character as much and, they're changing it this way, that way, or the other way, you might get a little like, But I really like what they did with it. And like you were saying too, I really enjoyed the tying it together with Selena, leading to that very comedic part in the last couple episodes where she thinks she's a god of fire, and Selena's trying to convince her friend, no, you're still Jenny from the block. You know?
Basically, basically, yeah,
definitely. Anne-Marie, what about you?
I wasn't as into the Freeze as you guys, but you have the emotional connection to it from previous renditions. It was neat. It was cool. I kind of
it was cool.
It was cool. Har har har. I kind of like how his wife sort of threw him into it though. Because she's like, no, I'm gonna take me out of the picture. Like offs herself. Like, I think it worked with that. And I mean, everything you said about Firefly, it made sense that she needed that to help her rise up and get over her abusive family, because it gave her that power, it gave her that strength, it gave her that motivation to leave, but it also gave her a relationship with Selena, who desperately needs another female to interact with, because I don't know what's up with Ivy. Just a little, she's just a little out there still. So
she was mushroom growing.
She's growing some shrooms. That's really all she's doing right now. Yeah.
She's a botanist.
A botanist, yes.
I will say I have some more stuff to say about Mr. Freeze a little bit later, but I'll just say I really love that he went all emo teen after he got his white hair and was in the cooler.
Yeah.
Just listening to the hard, heavy metal music and, kind of falling in on himself.
Yeah.
It was good. It was good stuff.
Good times.
Okay, so let's see here. Okay, now this is a big one. We're firmly in villain territory now. What about I'm going to cut your last point here because I think it'll kind of tie into here.
Yeah, a little bit. I didn't realize I did that.
Let's do the talk about the odd couple, the roommates. Ed Nigma and Pengy Pants.
Don't move my mustard.
Mr. Oswald. But both of them went through
many changes.
Many changes this season. But actually, Amory, why don't we start with you? Why don't you talk a little bit about Ed and Pengy Pants?
Oh, Ed and Pengy Pants, the romance that never was.
Yet to be.
Or has yet to be. Yeah. Who knows?
Or happened whilst he was drugged.
No. I just love that Ed sort of found himself. He finally was able to find himself. He found love and then he killed love. But, he sees what he wants now. Chaos, basically, is what he wants. And, Penguin, he found his family, which is something he so desperately needed, especially after his mother's awful, awful death.
Incoming ship name from the chat room.
Nigmobblepot.
Oh,
Nigmobblepot, yes.
Nigmobblepot.
Love Nigmobblepot.
Excellent.
But I just love where Penguin's going now. Like, he's still got his dead stepmother on the table. It had to have been like 2 weeks since this dinner. And she's just there.
That was the funniest thing ever.
That was the best thing. Like, all the flies are going.
Yeah. Can I just give a huge shout out to Drew Powell for that moment as Butch Gilzine lays eyes on the head of,
yes.
Being placed in front of him and has no idea what he should be saying to his former boss. Brilliant moment for him.
Yes. Like, these two just make me so happy. Anytime either of them is on screen, this is going to be good.
And it's funny, Amory, because you say that, like, Ed, found himself, and Penguin kind of did too as well.
Right.
Not only in Ed's bed, but also he went through Good Penguin, and just at the same time as Ed was going proper dark,
right?
And then obviously they kind of aligned again, where they both were just crazy,
right?
With heads on spikes. And stuff.
I want to see them work together again, though, because they didn't really get to work together properly. It was more like a healing process.
Well, I think the last time they ran into each other was when Penguin was still sort of
good,
and
I wasn't convinced.
And Ed was
that
like,
was the scene where I was convinced.
Yeah,
because I didn't believe that he was good. I thought he was putting on an act the entire time until Ed's like, I'm kind of thing where I can't have you here. Yeah. So I want to see them work together.
Definitely.
I want to see.
And they do make beautiful music together.
Oh, they do. It's just gorgeous.
They do.
Yeah.
Okay, what about you guys? You guys have some thoughts on Ed and as we call him, Pengy Pants.
For me, I have to say, Ed's storyline this season was my favorite thing of the entire season. I just loved the introduction of dark and good Ed, I guess, or dark and light Ed, talking to each other throughout the start of the season. There's some absolutely fantastic moments where Corey Michael Smith is playing the two sides of the character so well and so differently. Really, really exciting to see that, and then the merging of it all into evil Ed throughout the rest of the season was just fab. Just to really see that piece of that character that I've known for so many years kind of coming together throughout the season, and then finally becoming completely crazy towards the end of the season, and trying his best to get out of Arkham Asylum, even through the pipes.
That was hilarious.
That was hilarious. That was really good. Like, I think I love I think I've said it 3 times now. Oh, this is where Ed becomes Riddler. Oh, this is where Ed becomes Riddler. But I think it was where he kind of that moment in his apartment between him and Jim Gordon. I really, really enjoyed how that just played out, and how Ed Nigma just was ready for him. He knew that it was coming. I loved all that. And then I have to say his final trip in the woods into the snow.
Yes.
I just thought that was really good. And it's like crud. I mean, that was really good. As all the GCPD are like bearing in on top of him. It's like crud.
Yep.
Really good.
And I loved, after all the meticulous planning, all the secreting away of dead bodies and everything, he just kind of like goes through the snow and like falls.
Hilarious.
Yes.
Absolutely hilarious. As for Pengy Pants, I will use the name for you.
Thank you.
As for Pengy Pants, I really liked him this season. I feel he took a little bit of a back seat to season 1, just purely because season 1 felt like he was pushing through the whole time. Take over Gotham. It was a very much starting on the bottom rung and ending off King of Gotham at the end of season 1. In season 2, because of obviously becoming good Penguin for a while, he felt like he was taking a little bit of a back seat. So him coming back out, doing the Titus Andronicus of killing the children, feeding them to their mother, and then chopping off her head, and becoming more and more, probably a bigger Penguin, or a more evil Penguin than we've seen in season 1, was huge. But did feel like a bit of a backseat in the middle of the season this year.
I think it made him more confident in who he is. He's like, all right, I've seen where I've come from. I know, both sides of the story now. And by taking the matters into his own hands, that was more of him taking something than the end of season 1, where it was basically shove fish off of a building.
Yeah, and I mean, even though he had won that battle and become the king of Gotham,
nobody respected him
at the beginning of the season. He still had a weakness, which was his mom, and now he has all the power. He has none of the weakness. I mean, Fish freaked him out a little bit, as well she should.
Yeah.
But I think we're definitely going to see him come back a bit more stronger, a bit more confident going forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I think for me, Pengy Pants, definitely that moment where his mum's killed is hugely defining for him. But at the same time, he finds his dad, and I love that aspect to his character. I think, as you say, it's him finding himself, and he's able to move confidently into pure psychotic behavior as a result.
Definitely. The more psycho, the better on Gotham.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so I think we're going to wrap it up with the character discussions.
Yeah.
And because we have some topics we want to hit up to, and we're already, an hour in. So we should get to the topics. Okay, first up, let's see here. Okay, favorite episode and why? And I will go first because I'm the one directing things, and I want to. My favorite episode, and this kind of speaks to the Riddler self-actualizing and becoming the Riddler. Right. My favorite episode of the season was probably Mad Gray Dawn, which is the one where Ed is kind of leading Jim along on
the caper.
On the caper and everything, with the costumes and everything. It was the Riddler's first sort of in-brand caper with question marks and everything. And I also loved, it was the episode where Pee-wee, Paul Rubens, was introduced as Penguin's dad, Elijah Van Dahl.
That's fantastic.
Which I thought was really well done. And I think probably, even when I've seen Paul Rubens in movies where it's not strictly a comedic movie, his his role or his characters usually have a comedic twist to them. This is the first time where it was just like him playing it straight. And I thought he did a really, really good job with it.
Exactly. I'm not a big fan of the Pee-wee, but I was a big fan of the Elijah Vandal.
Yeah, I was sad to see him go, but I was really glad where they took it afterwards. Like, I was really happy for that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, a great episode. Really, really good episode. And love seeing Paul Rubens on the show. Really exciting to see him, obviously, from Batman Returns as Penguin's father in that brief cameo scene. And great to have, great of them to bring him into the show for this as well. That was really, really cool.
That's it. He just added another dimension to Oswald Cobblepot. It was really good. And I mean, that first Riddler caper was just really good. And how it really messed with Jim Gordon. Was superb. Yeah, really good.
Yeah, we have our Batman 66 moment on our podcast every week where we pick out a point that makes us laugh because it reminds us of Batman 66. This was the first one that really felt like they'd taken something and given it a new twist, but starting with the Batman 66 basics. I thought was cool.
Yeah, he also had a lot of really good costumes that episode. The Riddler did. He was a fashion magnate.
He was.
Okay, Anne-Marie, what was your favorite episode of season 2?
This ball of mud and meanness.
Why is that?
Well, we had everything with Matches Malone and that whole journey, Jerry and basically the Joker Club, like those two things. I didn't know I needed them so much until there they were.
So cool.
It was just amazing scenes. Like the Jerry character, I hope she comes back because we never saw her like end.
Yeah.
She was just being questioned in the GCPD. I love that that's left open, especially if we get Jerome back, that they're going to meet up. That's going to happen. His fan club's going to follow him around and, sing his praises.
I really love this. And I think I said this on the podcast at the time too. I loved that whole Jerry character and the punk rock club and the inspiration of the Joker because it felt very like 90s comic book to me, like early 90s, like alternative comic book, like a Vertigo book or something with the punk rock club and the video screens with the imagery and everything. I just loved it. Absolutely loved it.
It was fantastic. And I mean, the Matches Malone scene, it was everything it needed to be. And I just love the fact that Bruce doesn't do it. He walks away. He takes the moral high ground and walks away only to have Matches take care of the problem.
So I think I was going to say the other good thing I thought with Jerry was where she meets Bruce Wayne as well. That with David Mazouz, and she kind of just really he expects her to answer his questions and to tell him everything, and she really kind of just pulls back from it and says, well, this is up to you ultimately, this is your journey and so on. I love that little sort of that meeting of these two characters.
Yeah, it was
definitely
a great little moment. Yeah. It reminded me of that. I don't know whether you've ever seen the documentary that had Marilyn Manson being interviewed, where you expect him to be a really crazy guy, and he comes out with one of the most thoughtful moments of a documentary. That's what Jerry seemed like to me. You expected her to be another Jerome, off her head, completely crazy, but she actually says some very, very sensible things to Bruce to guide him on his journey. I thought that was really cool.
Yep,
definitely that juxtaposition. Okay, let's see here. How about you, Derek? What was your favorite episode of season 2?
We've actually mentioned a few times already in the podcast. My favorite episode was episode 7, Mommy's Little Monster. It's the opening of that episode where we have the death of Gertrude Cobblepot. It just set up one of the best episodes of the season for me. Just the idea that Oswald's going to have this thing ripped away from him while she's in his arms and been released from prison. I thought it was a beautifully set out scene, a beautifully well done moment in the episode. And it also gave us the great, probably the best interplay, I think, between evil and good Ed Nigma, where while Nigma sleeps after killing Christian Kringle, the body disappears and has been hidden in the GCPD by evil Ed. I just thought it was fantastic. Loved those moments. And then obviously giving us the big standoff at the end after Galavan's inauguration, where we have such a great moment where we have all the penguins walking up on the where the inauguration's taking place. Just an absolute iconic moment, I think, for the season. And then the standoff between Galavan and Oswald at the end just had so much in the episode. Really, really enjoyed it.
Okay, and what about you, John?
My favorite episode was 18 Pinewood. And this was all around sort of Pinewood Farm, and it was kind of this expansion of Indian Hill and sort of the backstory of Wayne Enterprises and their sort of off the books activity. I love this. I really liked Aaron Jennings in this episode, the one with the claw hand. I thought she was really good. She really stood out to me. And I think it was just, you had Alfred and Bruce team up again for, I think, the first time in a while, investigating Pinewood Farm. There's this link then to obviously Wayne Enterprises, but more personally to Thomas Wayne, because he's been protecting Karen Jennings from that was it, Project Chimera that's been happening. So you start to really look and see this murky world of Wayne Enterprises,
but not too murky. Sorry, go ahead.
And then, but you also find out a bit more about Thomas Wayne, and it really connects Thomas Wayne, I thought, back to Bruce in this episode through Aaron Jennings, and with Alfred being there by his side was really good. You have then Jim on his own kind of secondary quest, where you start to hear about the philosopher and Matches Malone. Not Matches. No, I don't think Matches Malone. But you hear about the philosopher being involved and being the person who obviously has maybe sanctioned this hit on Thomas and Martha Wayne. But I think it's a really great way of connecting back to Thomas Wayne and before his death, and that relationship with Bruce. It added another thing, I think, for Bruce there. I thought it was a really good episode for that.
Yeah, and it was also one of those episodes that made me realize, like, and I mean, obviously, once the Court of Owls was revealed, it took it to a whole nother level, but how deep the conspiracy ran. And how, as much as it seemed like a personal thing, when they introduced the Wayne murder and the fact that it might have happened for a reason, it felt more like part of a big web of intrigue. A bit more after Pinewood. There's this whole hidden world that we're just starting to tap into, which is really cool. Okay, let's move on to favorite character.
Okay.
Okay, first up, and we'll take it one at a time, but I want you both to address it because we have two people with the same favorite character.
We do.
Right.
Anne-Marie and Derek both love Nigma. Why? And we'll start with whoever starts talking first. Go.
He's crazy. No, I love good Nigma. I love bad Nigma. I love the meshing of the Nigmas. I love his little love affair with Kristen Kringle, and I really wish we could have had a little more of that because she was fantastic. But the way that just trying to explain it to her, he kills her, like that was so poetic or something. And how he just goes cuckoo bananas off the deep end after that. I just loved every time he showed up, even if it was just back in the corner taking notes on something. It was awesome. Okay, your turn.
My turn is I'm going to say exactly what said. Yes, he's just so good throughout the season. Everywhere that he appears in the show, again, a background character or in the foreground or doing something huge or doing something small, he just was fantastic this season. I can't wait to see more of him next season. Definitely.
Okay, John, who was your favorite character of the season?
Well, I had to really rein myself in here, actually, because like normally someone asks me for one thing, I'll give 3, 4, 5 different things. So for me, I went with because I love Enigma as well, but I went with one of the new introductions to in season 2, and it was Professor Hugo Strange. I like how I just loved BD Wong's portrayal. I just loved how he inhabited that character. I loved his challenge to Jim, like some of those face-offs was amazing. He undermines Ed, who they're going, he's the cleverest person in this show at the moment. He's the cunning one, and he completely undermines him whilst he's in Arkham. I thought there were cool visuals around the character as well that they did, whether it was when he's speaking with Jim and Jim's he's kind of the truth serum. That was just really cool with the way he was fading in and out. The psychedelicness where you've got the white round specks. I just thought was really visually stunning.
The way they played with his glasses was very comic book. Very comic book.
Really good. The stream of ice and fire as you have the duel between Firefly and Mr. Freeze. He has a fantastic sidekick in Miss Peabody, who is just awesome. And I have to say, she was just great. I loved her. I mean, she looked like she would wrestle all the indies. As well as just not giving Hugo Strange any, she would challenge him. I love that.
Don't you dare talk about her mama.
And then I really, really enjoyed just how menacing and Machiavellian he was. The fact that he is the philosopher. There's that link to the Court of Owls, and whether he's just whether he's just their voice rather than actually being on the council, so to speak. Nonetheless, he's embroiled so deeply into this. Yeah, I loved how he spoke about Thomas Wayne when he was confronted by Bruce. How he became sympathetic for like a moment where you kind of thought when he told Bruce, I'm trying to think now exactly how he said it, but he kind of says to Bruce, he says, I'm going to warn you away, like I did with your father, so that you can like essentially live. And I thought that was really like interesting how that was done. And obviously Bruce stands his ground, and then he sets the trap in motion whilst they're in Arkham, where they capture Bruce. I think it's Lucius Fox and then Jim Gordon, who've infiltrated into Arkham. And I just love that whole Machiavellian side to him as well. Almost one step ahead until the very end.
Absolutely.
And I have to say, Miss Peabody's "Get Me a Glass of Water."
Yes.
That with the diffusing of the bomb.
That was amazing.
Awesome. Loved it.
I look forward to him coming back because they didn't write him off.
Yeah.
And because I'm an obsessive IMDb'er, when we have questions, he has nothing else scheduled.
Well, I know
per the internet.
He's going to be a Mr. Robot this
He's a
season,
Mr.
but
Robot,
they already wrapped shooting.
That
on
has to be wrapped. And what I'm assuming is a movie is already completed. So I think that leaves him open to have a slightly bigger role the first half, at least, of season. So that's fun.
Yeah, his new movie is it's Jurassic Park for dinosaurs on jet skis, I think. So. Okay, let's see. As for my favorite character, and I've kind of already touched a couple of these points, so I'll just do this real quick. It's Theo Gallivan. I mean, obviously Jerome, really cool character. I almost went with him, but I thought it a little too obvious. And Gallivan, like I said, he's who the whole season was kind of built around. While he wasn't the main villain throughout, the things he did when he was the main villain in the first half of the season kind of set it up for the second half. And he had a lot to do there too. And like I said, him as Azrael was amazing, especially the contrast after seeing him as like the politician, sort of the manipulative guy of the first half of the season, and seeing him move around like almost like a Batman. Very cool. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you could tell that it inspired Bruce.
Oh yeah, because he was looking at him up in the rafters.
Yeah, he was like awesome. A little kid.
And he did so much for the show this season, and unfortunately he's a big bunch of ground chuck thanks to the bazooka. So Theo Gallivan, you will be missed, but I really enjoyed it.
How many ways to kill a Gallivan?
You never know. He could come back. Someone could glue him back together again.
I was going to say, he literally is exploded. I don't think we can bring that one back.
What did they meat dust?
Grind it up, put it in
Or maybe
milkshake.
that was a clone.
Dun, dun, dun.
Maybe.
Anything's possible in that Indian.
It is.
Anything's possible in Gotham.
Definitely. Okay, so why don't we go ahead and we'll move on to favorite storylines or arcs. Again, I'll go first just because we've kind of already touched on some of these points. Well, actually, you guys did. But I just really loved Mr. Freeze's story arc. It was like this nice little jazz riff on the Batman the Animated Series origin. With Nora kind of stepping in and ending the reason you always felt sympathetic for Mr. Freeze in Batman the Animated Series by killing herself, because then he doesn't have that baggage. He doesn't have that sort of, oh, well, he's trying to save his dying wife.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, maybe it's cool if he robbed that bank and killed that person. Now he doesn't have that.
Right.
And so I'm very interested to see where they're going to take this character if he comes back, in future episodes and seasons and whatnot. Now that there's nothing emotional tying him down to his morality, his human morality. Mm-hmm. He's a big metalhead now. So. Okay, let's see. Derek, who was your favorite character this season?
Favorite character, favorite storyline.
Storyline, rather.
He's getting confused over here.
That's all right. My favorite storyline this season, we definitely already talked about this, but it is Firefly. I loved Bridget Regan. I loved the concept of this character, where she's coming from being the kind of Cinderella to her adopted brothers, or the brothers who are taking care of her, and then working her way up and getting that power and feeling that power, and becoming a proper villain by the end of the series. Thought it was a really good arc. But I think we've talked about it a couple of times. So, yeah. One of my favorites.
Speaking of things we've talked about, Amory's just gone and crossed out her note here.
Mine was going to be Nigma, but I was like, I'm going to do something different.
Oh, you're going to do something different?
I have an alternate.
Okay, put in your alternate.
Crazy Stabby Babs.
Very true.
She took quite the journey this season, and we barely mentioned her. Like, she starts off in Arkham in her sassy prison gear, and only to be broken out, part of the hashtag maniacs, but yes, but not. Then she's literally in bed with Galavan and Tabby, and it's just lots of the up and the down, and then she's in a coma, and she's falling out a window, and then she's like rehabilitated thanks to Strange to be freed, even though she doesn't feel she should be freed. And then
Jim rejects her, and she goes back to Crazy Town.
Well, not immediately. He rejects her, and then she helps him, and then she goes back to Crazy Town, and she's making gimlets. Like, I know that they didn't do nearly enough with her in season 1. They made up for it in season 2, I think. And I want to let's just keep on riding this.
Yeah, she's actually a character who I think was almost universally hated in season 1, and it's just a complete turnaround in season 2. Well, I think really not even, it's not even a season distinction. I think people started to come around to her during the Ogre arc.
Well, they gave her something to do. When you give a character something to do, people like them.
Can't have her just sitting at home drinking wine.
I mean, she's good at it, but you can't just do that.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind that job, though.
Crazy Babs was cool.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Okay, but she wasn't your pick, John. Who was your pick or storyline pick?
Mine. We've talked about this person. It's the character arc for Bruce Wayne. It's I think I've probably kind of already said this, but I just think David Mazouz has really done so well. I mean, you think the weight of trying to portray a young Bruce Wayne, who everyone knows is going to become Batman, and actually this is one of the most interesting aspects of Gotham for me, is how they've dealt with him and what David Mazouz has brought to the role. Like, going off with Selina, working the streets. Not that I meant to say it in such a way, actually, but just like, going and trying to find himself, learn how street kids survive, what the rules of the streets, really break away from Wayne Manor, sorry. I loved then him working with Selina and dealing with Silver St. Cloud. I mean, the whole kidnap foil and all that, really, really good. Taking a slightly more like being a bit liberal with the truth to Alfred, and just that continuing relationship as well is like great to see. And then his confrontation of Hugo Strange in the office, in Arkham, I just thought was like fantastic. And I mean, he's had real, with the 8 orders of the Saint Dumas coming for him. He has been under a bit of pressure as well from mindless, bloodthirsty monks, I suppose, and Galavan this season. So I've really liked how his character's just built and developed and become more intricate with all the people around him. I loved his slapdown of Jim Gordon as well. The fact that, Jim hasn't found his parents' murderers, and he basically says, "What have you been doing?" Like really good. So that's mine, Bruce Wayne. his young Bruce Wayne, sorry, his character arc and storylines, I think this season have been like fab.
It's a shame they're killing him off in season 3. No, that's
they can reanimate him now. That's
very
true.
true.
Bring Hugo Strange, and he will have the genetics of a bat put into his.
So
he'll be Man-Bat.
He'll be
Man-Bat.
So that's who he becomes. Because I've been wondering, there's this kid running around. He's obviously important to the Batman mythos. Who will he be? He'll be Man-Bat. Perfect. Okay, but they're not going to kill off Bruce Wayne probably anytime soon. That would be a good theory, though. I'm sure we all have theories about what's going to happen in season 3.
That was nice. That was a good
Thank
segue.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. But you know what? I'll go first just because this is one I've been kind of floating around since season 1, and I think they've been working towards it. But
it makes me sad.
My theory for season 3 is that they're going to have Ed kill off Harvey Bullock. Because there's been, gasp.
Yeah.
But there's been a building tension between those two since Ed's
episode 1.
Non-evil days. Yeah. So they've been building this, and now that Ed's firmly on the side of the bad guys, I can see him going and taking out his old enemy at the police department, especially now since he's running the police department, and he might be one of those type of people to get in Ed's way, or if Ed and Penguin are working together, Ed and Penguin's way.
Yep.
I definitely feel like that's going to be a season 3 moment. Also because I think Harvey Bullock is someone in the chat room asked earlier, who do we think they're going to kill off in season 3? I think Harvey Bullock people aren't going to be expecting it because he's a part of the Batman mythos and it should be there when Batman's around, but he's also really kind of expendable too, because he's important in the story to Jim's early days on the Force. But later on, I mean, anyone could fill that role, I think it would be very impactful and powerful to kill off that character too, because he's one of the most likable guys on the show because he has all the good lines and everything.
Yeah.
So that's my theory.
That's a good one.
It's a good one. I don't like it, but it's a good one. No, I don't like it at all. What are we going to do without Bullockisms? Who's going to pick that up? Lucius Fox?
Andy in the chat room says Bullock won't get killed off on Gotham, especially since it's Donald Logue. But I think the fact that it's him
actually almost makes it more possible.
Yeah, because I mean, it's not like this is his only gig he's ever had.
Yeah,
and
he has quite a few things,
and he'll be out to pasture if he gets off of Gotham. He's a very accomplished actor. He's been working in he was the weird taxi guy on MTV back in the day. I mean. Yeah, he's been in the business for years, and he always has. He's had a million jobs since he started Gotham. So,
yeah,
I mean,
he has had quite a few.
I think he'll be fine if they kill him off.
Yeah, he's got some stuff.
Okay, let's see here. Okay, theories, nothing but theories. Why don't we go to John? What's your season 3 theory?
My season 3 theories are come in double here, and it's back. It's like yours. It's something from season 1, but it's Killer Croc. I think it was back in episode 2, Selena Kyle, and it was all the kids being kidnapped and sent to the Dulmacher. And there was Quinn Pharmaceuticals, and there was this big pit that seemed to go down into the sewers and glowed green, and we were kind of thinking, well, either it's too near the nuclear power station in Springfield, or maybe Killer Croc could be down in the sewers, but maybe now it went down to Indian Hill or something, and they were feeding the guy, because obviously there was this. You had the claw hand of Karen Jennings,
right?
But also then you saw the guy being taken out of one of the cells when they were taking all their experiments away. Yeah. And it looked like scales on the skin. So I'm hoping we get Killer Croc, basically. That he comes around and starts causing mayhem and chaos. And the other one is with regards to Jerome. And I would love it if it linked back to the Red Hood gang or something.
Yes,
from season 1. That he's escaped, and maybe his face is slightly disfigured or white, and he can't deal with it or something. Right. So he uses the Red Hood. I remember that being one of my favorite scenes from season 1. the hood being picked up off the ground at the
by
end.
some little kid or something.
Yeah, and maybe that he somehow finds this gang, comes across them by accident or whatever, or seeks them out, and he starts to integrate into that to become the Red Hood. And obviously that would link in with a lot of the canon on then maybe Joker's storyline, or it could still keep it up in the air that, well, this is the Red Hood is passed around, and so he can and can't be the Joker. He could be either of those.
Well, I like that too, especially because both of those storylines, I mean, obviously there's the comic connection to the Red Hood that you mentioned, but both the Jerome storyline and the Red Hood storyline ended on a note that, okay, this happened and it's going to be a constant source of inspiration for something in Gotham moving forward. You know, you had all the people laughing after the Jerome thing, and then you had the kid picking up the Red Hood. And I mean, that entire episode, it's the Red Hood getting passed around, right?
So the person keeps dying.
So it's all about legacy and inspiration and everything. And so it would be cool to see those storylines get together at some point for sure.
Like it.
Yeah.
Okay, Anne-Marie, your theory.
Fish is going to stay underground for a while so she can learn her power and her strength and figure out what the heck has happened while she's been dead for the better part of a year. And then she's going to strike, and she's going to strike hard around the mid-season.
Interesting.
I think we might get a glimpse of her like every 3 episodes, and it's going to be small until that mid-season where she just like all of the crazy.
Yeah, because I feel like we definitely need to get like I was expecting this to happen in the season finale, a big kind of like rematch between her and Penguin. But
instead he just passes out. Oh, Pengy Pants.
All right, and Butch runs away. Yeah.
Wouldn't you? I'd run away if she showed up.
He had a Gatling gun, though. He's prepared for anything.
It's true.
Except for Fish Mooney. No one is prepared for
Fish Mooney.
Okay, Derek, what about you? What's your theory?
It's quite difficult to give theories. That's what I found when I saw this question coming out, because there's been so much released over the last 3 or 4 weeks. It seems like there's been posters. There's going to be a new trailer in the next week or so, and there's been loads of releases online of little background stuff from the first couple of episodes. So keep it simple. The Court of Owls are going to be working with the Bruce doppelganger, and they're going to be replacing Bruce Wayne with the doppelganger. That's my simple theory for some of the season. Next season is that the Court of Owls are going to be controlling possibly Wayne Enterprises using the young Bruce Wayne doppelganger.
I like that. Definitely like that. I'm very interested to see what that kid, what's up with that kid for sure.
Yeah.
Should be interesting. Okay, so let's see here. Gun to your head. Let's get critical. What one thing do you think the show could improve on? And I'll just say mine real quick. I think it's the yo-yoing penguin plot. It just kind of like he's on top of the world, he's off the world. You know,
he's happy, he's sad, he's happy, he's sad,
Right.
He's crazy, he's evil, he's crazy, he's normal.
Yeah,
He's good, he's bad.
Yeah.
What I'd like to see is him, you know, have the power, be super confident, and kind of take a step off the stage a little bit.
That will happen at the mid-season when Fish rises up and like zaps him.
Yeah, just because I feel like because he's such a popular character, they feel like they have to keep him going through the show all the time, even when maybe they have to kind of repeat story notes with him, just to keep him on there. It'd be nice to see him, you know, take a step back, have some other villains step up and kind of fill that big featured role. And then maybe, you know, just randomly appear 4 or 5 episodes later and, oh, wait a second, now Penguin's there and it's this big deal. It's an event.
Yeah, it's a thing.
You know, so I'd like to see something like that, you know, and I mean, it's so hard to kind of criticize the show because I love so much about it, you know. But Anne-Marie, what about you? Your criticism?
I think they might, and this sort of ties into what Derek and John have a little bit. They take on a few too many stories at once, and they're not all getting completely fleshed out. And unless they're holding back some stories, there's questions on how we get from point A to point B. Going back to Barbara, like we see her helping Jim, and then all of a sudden she's making gimlets and passing out in Tabby's lap. Like there was no real, you don't see her psychotic break that leads her to that or something like that. Like I feel like there's just some little glimpses. Like I'd like to know a little bit more about Butch and Tabby.
Yeah.
What have they actually been doing? We know that Butch's nephew is doing stuff. Well, not anymore, probably. But, like, you know, like, there's little things that we don't get because we have to go to this story, to this story, to this story. Like, pick a few and focus. Maybe cycle one or two of them out every couple episodes. But I don't think we need to have... Everybody doesn't have to have an A-plot.
Yeah, it's very, very much the same as myself. It's just the underdevelopment of what they call season regulars is my kind of one. So people like Drew Powell has become a season regular in season 2. Chris Chalk, who plays Lucius Fox, became a season regular. Nicholas D'Agosto, who's Harvey Dent.
Wasn't he in like 2 episodes or something? It was stupid.
Yeah, and they had a court case where Jim Gordon was being tried, which none of it was shown. Like you would have assumed that you have the district attorney, you know, on your payroll for a year. You're going to use him in that episode, you know. I just think they have so many characters there that they can use, and sometimes they ignore plots for those characters, and not always in favor of a better storyline.
Right,
kind of my feeling.
It's the Montoya Allen problem.
It really is. Well, I mean, is it maybe that they just have too many people cast as a series regular that, I mean, other shows have this problem. They have too many people series regular. They have to have so much screen time. Apparently Fox doesn't have that deal with these people. They're just getting paid and they're just like sitting back.
Here's your paycheck.
Yeah, here's your paycheck. Thanks for, you know, calling in to see if you're on this week. Like, that's pretty much all these people must be doing. And that's kind of frustrating. I guess it just guarantees that they have them if they need them.
Yeah.
But they're not using them.
Yeah.
Some weird moments,
It's really
I think Harvey Dent's on a new show now, too. I think his pilot got picked up or something.
Oh, well, then he'll be done.
Okay, John, what is your criticism?
Yeah, I think mine kind of, again, it links into what Derek said and Anne-Marie. It's for me, it's that they deal with certain storylines or even just some of the concepts or ideas way too quickly. Or maybe, you know, just not well enough. They don't give them the time to breathe, yet they allow others, like you said, Bill, you know, Penguin is allowed to, his storyline is allowed to breathe and breathe and breathe. So was Ed's, you know, gestate slowly. And then you have, so the example really, you know, Jim goes into prison after this court case, which is kind of glossed over. But then Jim goes into prison, is out within 1 episode, whereas I would love to have seen him a bit longer in the prison for some of the episodes, because like we've said earlier, he has taken a bit of a backseat. So him being in prison, that could have really worked. And to just, you know, it was fitting the dark route that he had gone down and what he'd been tried for, that he went to prison. And then all of a sudden it was like he's out and he's a vigilante. And I was like, well, maybe just that could have happened a bit later. And like you, I think one of you mentioned about the Order of Saint Dumas arriving. I mean, it's like they sent, you know, the cat and the dog over. I was expecting this really sort of bloodthirsty, you know, there's years and years of hatred and revenge between the Waynes and the Dumas, and it all kind of
we've been preparing for centuries.
Yeah, we've been preparing for
but
centuries.
This is all we could rustle up this weekend. There's a big party going on.
Yeah, it was weird too, because we've actually canceled our Once Upon a Time show, but we were covering Once Upon a Time at the same time too, and I think it was the same week even. Both of them had like a big, like, shocking reveal at the end of the episode with hooded figures. Wandering down a street, and both of them had like 4 people.
They were awful. They were both awful. I was like, they'd been building up for weeks on both sides, and we're like, this is gonna be insane. Yeah. And then it's dudes in hoodies, basically.
Yeah. It's kind of like they've just not necessarily gotten the balance right in how they deal with those stories that they spend a lot of time with. And maybe in some cases it could be, I think, as you've mentioned, Bill, with Penguin now at this stage, maybe they can pare back from Oswald's story a bit. And even just with the menace behind Wayne Enterprises, I mean, that was first kind of hinted at in season 1. You've certainly got the development of it here now in season 2, and it's likely to be like the big tee up in season 3 with the Court of Owls. So it's just how they deal with that, I think, for me. Yeah.
Excellent. I think we've done good work here, guys. Okay, lightning round. Real quick lightning round, and this is on you guys' suggestion. best scene of the season. I'll start first. Mine was Ed killing Miss Kringle. It pulled the rug right out from under us, right when we thought we knew exactly where they were going with their relationship and that character. And it also accelerated Ed's story extremely. Like, I thought it was going to be by the end of season 3, season 2, we were going to get to where Ed was like one episode later.
Yeah.
You know, and so it just kind of accelerated things and just like really kicked it up a notch. Okay, Emery, your favorite scene?
I apparently didn't fill out this question, and I don't want to steal someone else's, but it's kind of my favorite. So I'm going to let them answer, and then I'll just jump on it.
Okay, and then just say that's mine too.
Yeah.
Okay, Derek.
Mine is the death of Galavan, or the many deaths of Galavan, leading to Butch with a bazooka.
Ding, 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 ding. There it is.
Well, I mean, really, if you're going to say best scene of the season, that's really the best scene of the season.
I mean, you can't beat that.
But John might try. John, what was your favorite scene?
I loved it when Lucius Fox and Alfred met at the bar over a G&T, and they were talking about tucking up. Alfred started talking about he would tuck up Lucius like a kipper if they couldn't trust him, or if his promise of being trustworthy came to nothing. I just loved that scene between the two of them in the bar. Really, really cool.
Yeah, I really like their relationship.
The Reggie scene in the kitchen.
Yes. Yes.
Kind of had an intensity about it that just really leapt out at me. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so lightning round over.
Can I have just one more?
Do it.
Because I'm going to have to make him say it. My favorite scene of the entire series was our podcast, which had a great moment where John gave a rendition of a certain character who wakes Barbara up, or who was there when Barbara's awakes.
Hello, my dear.
There you go.
Fantastic.
Excellent. Okay, guys, why don't you go ahead and tell people where they can follow your podcast, your social media accounts,
all of that good stuff,
your dog, all that stuff.
Your dog?
Well, you can find us at Gotham TV Podcast. We're pretty much ubiquitous everywhere you go. Just look for Gotham TV Podcast and any good or evil podcast catcher. You can see us over on iTunes at gothamtvpodcast.com/iTunes. Will take you straight there. You can follow us on Facebook. Just go to facebook.com/groups/Gotham TV Podcast. And you'll see us over on Twitter, pretty much live tweeting at the UK pace. Over at Gotham TV Podcast.
Though eventually they will get season 3.
Yeah. We have got some good news for anybody that does know us. There is some great news about it in the UK. Definitely has been picked up by Channel 5 in the UK again. So we know for a fact we will be getting to see it, and hopefully a little bit earlier this year than we did this next season. Than we did this season.
Yeah, excellent. Cool. Real quick before we go, obviously you can follow us legendsofgotham.com, email us legendsofgotham@gmail.com. We do have a new Facebook group because it'll show up on your feed.
I'm not going to lie. We totally stole this from Gotham TV Podcast. Yeah. I noticed they had a group. I'm like, I'm doing that.
It's so good.
It's so much better because you'll see what we post.
Yeah, definitely. But the new group is facebook.com/groups/Legends of Gotham. And one little announcement. We are going to be appearing at the Tampa Bay Comic-Con
on the 7th.
On August 7th at 11:30 a.m. in room 12,
I think.
Yeah, in room 12, we're doing a live Legends of Gotham panel. We'd love to see you down there. If not, we're going to record it. We'll release it on the feed. But we'd love to meet some Gothamites down there at Tampa Bay Comic-Con. So really hope you can make it out. And we'll be mentioning this when we do a spoiler party and a couple other times too. Mm-hmm. So I definitely, we hope to see you guys out there. We don't know what we're going to do yet.
We have no idea what we're going to talk about.
But we're doing a panel. And if you guys listen to the show, if you know Bobby Hawk from he have the voicemail every week, he'll be around. He'll be around. Us. He'll probably be on the panel. So
we'll just drag him and be like, shh.
It'll be a good time. But again, guys,
thank you.
I can't believe it's been this long.
Thank you for staying up.
Oh, it's so good. We enjoyed every moment.
Thank you so much.
Yay! Well, let's try and not wait a year before we do this again. Though.
Definitely.
Anne-Marie, give me your ring.
No.
Well, I got to put a ring on it.
You are not getting my rings.
Okay. I'm going to send you a symbolic ring through the internet. Here you go, guys. We have a ring on it now, and we're gonna have to do this sooner rather than later too. Like,
definitely,
we shall be forever the Legends of Gotham TV podcast, right?
Yes, definitely,
I like
definitely. We're merging the feeds, folks. We're merging the feeds. Okay, but I guess we'll close it out how we normally do. Join us next time for more Legends of Gotham TV podcast. And we'll play the music out. You guys won't hear this probably.
They'll just hear me singing. I never
Put a
get
ring
it
on
right. Tampa Bay Comic Con, come see us, please.
And that is the end of our Legends of Gotham TV podcast. Great fun. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Again, if you want to watch the full live stream, if you just heard the audio and you want to see our late night faces, you can pop over to YouTube. Just search Legends of Gotham and you'll see the last podcast there, episode 77, which has our lovely tired faces and Bill and Anne-Marie smiling sunshiny faces.
Absolutely. Remember, for all things Gotham, go to gothamtvpodcast.com/iTunes or any other good podcast catcher. Just search Gotham TV Podcast. And of course, join us on our Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/Gotham TV Podcast. And of course, our Twitter handle at Gotham TV Podcast. A great little round table for myself and Derek, and obviously to do it with Legends of Gotham, who we feel as though we've been there from the beginning, was awesome. So we hope you enjoyed it. But I think that's all from us for now. We will be back, as Derek said earlier, for Suicide Squad just after the 25th of July. So with that, see you later.
Talk to you soon. Bye now.
Bye.
Thanks for being a Butch supporter. Butch loves you, baby.